right, I'm hoping this is the last part that we're doing for front end. But this is just gonna be part three. We're gonna finish off the rest of the screen. So as you can see in the Figma, and we got the first part done. Second part, we just gotta do these parts over here. Um, so let's look at the body. Looks like there's some space in between. So there's 16 above, and then there's 16 in between. When I see the spacing, I'm thinking about adding a sized box just to make sure I'm adding the accurate amount of space. So I'll show you guys how to add a sized box in between those two things, if necessary. But we'll start by adding the text first, right? And as I mentioned before, I'm gonna use the MCP as well to help me. Sometimes if you got stuff to do, you can have the MCP, especially if you know what you're doing, read the components for you and then suggest code for you, and then you review it and accept it. Sometimes you can have it teach you while looking at the Figma, whatever you feel is best. I still like to code the stuff just so I can remember, but if I'm in a time crunch, I'll just have it suggest code for me and I'll make modifications. But what you do is you click on the screen that you're looking for. So for example, here I'm working on the invite screen page, and then you go back to cursor and then you just paste that and you say, please use the Figma desktop MCP to scan this link. And this is a screen I am working on and want you to have context as I make it. So we'll have him scan that, but in the meantime, we just added the padding over there. So we got two things in our column, right? The first thing was the top nav bar, then the second thing is the visual placeholder. Then we're gonna add a third thing, which we established was this body for text. Body for text is pretty easy to add. Let's make sure we add it inside of the children. And I always like to add a comment. So yeah, so body for text. Okay, this is actually a pretty good start. Let's see what this is saying. My MCP has been acting up lately. So it doesn't scan it. Use the, I'm not sure why it started like 2 days ago. Use the desktop MCP and just scan this link. So we'll add body text. Body text will add padding as well to start out with. Okay, sorry about that. Just realized that I can pause stuff when I'm troubleshooting, but I was able to troubleshoot my MCP and got that figured out. So I'm gonna go back here and I'm just gonna press the run. Let's see if this works. And then it has many different tools available. You can take a screenshot. That's what it's doing different stuff to just make sure that it can see what I see in the Figma as well from using the Figma desktop MCP. As you can see now, it's looking at, taking a screenshot and making sure it sees what I see as well. And then it's just giving me a review of what the screen contains, the things I need to be aware of, such as invite friends, H4, pop-ins, semi-bold, visual placeholder, 370, 370, checkered square, radius, 16, which is what we implemented over there. Body text is invite friends, body large. So oh wow, that's nice. So it's actually showing me what I have done already and what I still need to do, which is pretty good. So this is something for you guys to use as you please if you want to. It's gonna make it a lot easier to learn stuff for sure, and here it's gonna give me baby steps to complete it, but for the sake of time I'm just gonna do this quickly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add padding. Padding is gonna be 16 around the sides, and then what I want to do now, once I've added my padding, is I want to add a child. That child is gonna have some text, and then that text It's gonna be invite friends to get this party started. I believe that's what it was. Invite some friends to get this party started. So let me get that tab again. Invite some friends to get this party started. Okay, perfect. Style. Some very important things here, right? Invite friends to get the party started. So it looks like invite some friends to get, then the other one is on a new line. So we'll just do the same. So after to get. So before the is where we want to add just a simple new line character. And that's just going to make sure that it's under it. And then when you are creating a child, one thing you guys really need to pay attention to, I think this is the most important thing really. When you guys build stuff, especially things like text, you want to make sure to use style, theme of context, okay? Theme of context makes sure that whatever you do happens in light mode and in dark mode. If you don't do it this way, you're gonna have stuff when we switch to dark mode not switch automatically. Because of the top nav bar, because of the way we implemented it as a component, we already have that light and dark mode theme awareness because we use theme text off. So all the texts have a light mode version and a dark mode version. So if I go to dark mode here in my code, you'll see that the text changes to white automatically. We don't have to write that code somewhere, but we use theme context off. That's what allows us to do this. So theme context off, then it checks whether we're using the light mode or the dark mode text. Then this is important too, because this is where you start to make the connections between the code and Figma. So style, let's look at it in depth, right? And we're gonna go here in the Figma and we'll like very see so that we get the correct values. For example, here by section colors, if you guys click on these three dots here, it shows you where it's from, right? So the collection is the color component specific, and Ethan is pretty much calling text secondary. So you want to do the same thing in the code too here. You want to go to context component, and then in there you want to call text secondary. So wow, I did a pretty good job. It called it exactly how it was supposed to be, and then that's pretty much how we would close it off. The reason, yeah, there's something a little bit off with this design system because it should be able to call it, because we have component already in there. Component, yeah, component. Context, you can call different types of ones. You can call semantic, you can call different types, and that's just referencing the color classes that we have in the design system. But we are going to be calling component and then calling, oh, my spelling. And I think it's the same reason with this, where we have to make an import again for the colors, because it's not letting me call this because we have to make an import. And I will make sure to refactor this so that you guys only have to call the design system once. I really thought I had refactored it already, but I'm gonna just ask what's the import to have access to this, and then I'll just import that. Oh, I guess it's this one. Yeah. So it's design system token colors index, but that's all that is pretty much. But yeah, I'm gonna refactor it so that you guys just have to call the design system once, so you don't have to remember which file it's in. That's the whole point. Just call once and have access to everything. But pretty much, I think this should be good for the text. We'll just go ahead and run it and check and see if everything's okay. Oh, I didn't close the padding. Okay. Okay, we close the padding. Let's run it. Oh, that does not look right. Looks like invite text. Okay, let's some fun troubleshooting. See what's going on here. Text secondary. Did I call? Yeah, it didn't look right. The color, first of all. So we're supposed to call text secondary. Okay. Let's look at text secondary and see how that looks. Okay, that color looks good, but it's on the side. We don't want it on the side like that. So we kind of have to fix it. So we got the padding. Okay. We got the text. Okay, let's text align it to center. See if that makes it look better. All right, we're getting somewhere. And see, when we use theme context off, you just call text secondary like Ethan did in the Figma. And pretty much if you go to the dark mode version, so Shift Command A, you'll see that the text automatically changes. If we do not do this with theme context off, your stuff is just gonna stay one color, and you don't want that. So we're almost there. Now let's look what we have left. Okay, now we have to add a button, and this button is what type of button? This is a where's the stuff about the component? Oh, component information. It's a button. Okay, solid button, large, default button. Okay, so that's what we're going to be calling. We're just going to be calling a default button over here. We don't want a spacer. Spacers are just a way of also of giving you space. I typically like to add size box, but you can explore. It just depends on the context. Sometimes you need a spacer, sometimes you need a sized box, but we're going to be calling solid button, and this solid button is going to be, what's it, send invite. So this is our constructor for solid button, and then inside this constructor you'll have text. So text is send invite. You'll have size, large, width, true. What else do we need? We need the one with the icon on the right. So we're gonna call, we're gonna make sure to have it have an icon inside of it. So for example, you can have icon. See, just one constructor, solid button, and then you start to customize it and shapeshift it the way you want it to work. So yeah, it's pretty much what I want. SDeck icons, mail, SDeck size, and then let's go look for the color of the icon. So we go into Figma, we look, okay, so it says button is solid, okay. Look at the components. Right is the location icon, default, mail is the icon, send invite is the text. So we just have to make sure we're doing the same. Send invite is the text, true, icon location. Icon location is right, so same stuff we see here. Icon location is right. And then mail is the icon. Let's see. I think we have everything we need. Radius we already have. Okay, background, colors, solid button, primary. Okay, so what else am I missing? I think this should be it for our icon. The reason it's doing this is because of the import. So I have to import buttons for icons. Oh wait, no, I already got that one. So let me just pause this. All right, so I just did a little bit of troubleshooting, and I realized as I was reading these imports that I'm not calling the actual design system. I didn't realize that I'm calling the components. I'm calling the specific folders. I didn't realize that all I really need to call is just one import, and that import is the design system. And this is sometimes the cons of using autocomplete. But if you just call index design system index dart, this gives you access to all of the components. So you see how we had all those different imports and components. Now we don't have to have any of those anymore. So that's a good thing that we just figured out here. This one is having issues because I need to add paddings, and I need to add it as a child. Like this button, I need to add it as a child as well. So just gonna add padding for that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just go ahead and make it a child. So padding 16, yeah, pretty much have to just make it a child so that it can do that. Then I'll just delete this code here. And then that should give us our first button. So let's see, clear this. So this is gonna be a lot of trial and error. Trying to get it right. Solid button, close the padding, and close the children. Wait, why is this one? Padding closed here, children closed here. Man, I'm not trying to do this, bro. We're at 17 minutes. Oh boy. So almost there. Almost done, guys. So after the closing, there's no separating. Oh, bro. Is it because of this? No. Man, you can fix it. Can you fix it for me? Thank you. It's reading it. Oh, bro, up there. Okay. Bro. Okay, so yeah, that's the button. Let's give the button a try, see how it looks. Alright, so we called the button from the design system. And then if we do Control or Shift Command A, it should be responsive to light and dark mode again. One thing that's super important about this section is that you just need to make sure that even when you call the context for the component, for the icon, make sure you call icon primary, and that information should be in the Figma as well when you look at the component you're calling. So button, and then you scroll down here. Just make sure you follow all of these requirements here of how things are called, because that's what's going to really help us to be able to complete everything. Assets down there, export. Okay, so the last thing is just to add the outline button at the bottom under it. Is this inside? Yes. What's the next one? Get started. Okay, let's do the get started button real quick. Let's do get started button. Hopefully this gets it right. No, padding 16 didn't close. Yeah, it didn't close it. And same thing here, just call the Socialdeck outline. So that's what this button is. It's the outline button. So once you click on this button, you'll be able to see what type of button it is. As you can see here, it's called component information. You can kind of explore. Where's the name of it? I should show you. Oh, my bad. Type. The type is the outline. So you're calling a button component. The type is outline. So that's what's gonna let you know to call the Socialdeck outline. And then just populate the constructor. No location for the icon. No location for anything else. And then yeah, let's see how this looks. Control A, and then just gotta add spacing for this. Okay, size box gap. Oh, okay, so I've made my stuff a little bit. So I just gotta move. I'm not gonna turn it into a scrollable list, but I'm just gonna move stuff a little bit more and make sure that I've had my padding and outline correct. So I'm just gonna troubleshoot this a little bit quickly, make it look good. It's just so the video is not too long, and then I'll show you guys what I did. All right, sorry this video is so long. After using the MCP, I realized what I was doing wrong, and that's the thing about the front end. One small thing can just mess up everything. And pretty much what was going wrong is I was not using the correct edge insets, sorry. And yeah, I haven't made screens in a while, so I kind of forgot some stuff, but I needed to use symmetric. That's the one I use for my screens. If you look at the other ones in the past, I needed to use symmetric instead of using the one I'm using right now, which is all. So I just need to refactor these to use symmetric, and then I'll go ahead and once I'm done refactoring these to use symmetric instead of all, then it should be a little bit better. But yeah, small little things, but you know, once you get used to these things, it becomes a lot better. But we're almost there, because I was wondering too, why was the screen not asking me to add size box? And when you use it like this, then you can go to the Figma and figure out exactly how much of the size box you need to add. So for this one, as you can see here, it's 16, right? That's the spaces in between. So typically I would then add a size box of 16 between the body and the visual placeholder right here. So I would then go for a size box of gap 16, and what that's going to do for me is going to allow me to have the space that's had over here, and it's usually, you see, it's just a gap of 16, and you just Socialdeck space dot gap, and that will create that gap, so you have like an accurate match with the Figma. And then I believe it was the same thing over there under the body text, so we'll just add that gap again, size box, and then it will create that space for you, right? Then you got that space in between. So now it's starting to look a little bit better. Now we just gotta see what's the gap here. The gap here, I think it's 8. Yeah, gap 8 right there. So now we go ahead and we add gap 8 between the two buttons, which would be right here. Gap 8. And now I think we should be done with the screen. Yep, that adds that gap right there. That's 16. This should be 8. Yeah, we should be done making that screen. Wow, that took a while. But yeah, that's kind of how the process works with making screens and stuff inside the design system already. You know, just go through, review stuff, make sure it's good, You can even use the MCP to like make sure, have I implemented the screen fully correct. Use the MCP to troubleshoot stuff as well. But some stuff is gonna have to get refactored in terms of the components, and then once those components are refactored, it would look even more like this. But yeah, pretty much this is our screen right here. We got the invite friends, we got the placeholder, which we talked about is a helper method where we've declared the same values in Figma and then went ahead and added that there, so that when we create our Rive components, we'll just create that Rive component inside this container. Then we also have the body, which is the body text right here. As you remember, so we got widget, scaffold, safe area, column, because we're working with stuff inside. Inside the column, we have children. The first child is the nav bar. Second is the visual placeholder. Second is then the body text, and then the button, and then the outline button, which is what we have on the screen here, which is pretty much the same as the Figma. So please, if you guys have questions or concerns, let me know. But I think this should be able to get you guys started. If you're done with your screen, you can just ask, can you please check my code and scan the MCP link and see if I missed anything. And then you just click on the screen, Control L, and then paste in here and see what your outcome is. And yeah, this should be it for the front end people for today. If I think of anything else to add for you guys, I'll kind of start working on that. But I know it's a lot of content to watch, but I think it will really help you guys if you just watch the full thing. And I'm saying this at the end, LOL. But yeah, let's wait on this thing, see what it says, and then yeah, we'll continue. Okay, last thing, this thing is done. Looks like we got almost full points. Nav bar, everything looks like it's been implemented okay. Always make sure to double check it as well. Make sure it's the same, you know, visually, but definitely use this as a guideline as well. This thing can miss things. We got a note, says 2 small things I noticed. Your size block is widgets are missing const. Which is that true? That is true. Yep, should always have const. Yeah, that is true. Good point. So make sure to add that. Good point. Good catch. And I typically will try to leave a comment there, gap between buttons, and then just leave something here so someone can know what it is. This is not the gap between buttons. This is, yeah, but you guys don't need that part. But anyway, and what's the second in the Figma shows that the nav bar has no gap between itself and the placeholder image. Your code correctly has no size but before. That's right. Okay, the code structure looks correct. I'll reload. Okay, yeah, so I think that should be everything. This is fun. It's fun. Don't forget to have fun putting all these things together. It's gonna look really cool, especially once we have the Rive animations. So that should be it. Thanks for watching. How do we end this?